Are teams drafting too many
Saturday.
quarterbacks in the first round? Is it happening too often?
It almost happened. We almost got it in.
It's a fairly obvious reason why they do it, but are they doing it too much? Bill Barnwell wrote a really good, and it's very lengthy, but a great dive into NFL draft quarterback history. Are they doing it too much? Like, he just addresses all of these things. It's a really good read at ESPN.com. Barnwell's a friend of the show. We haven't had him on in a couple years. I'd love to get him on. I think he's amazing, and he's really good with analytics, explaining things, walking through the history of some of this stuff. How, as a fan, do we gauge the quarterback thing? Because I don't know if you know. The Houston Texans, Dirt, they're making history. They're making big NFL history.
What are we doing? What are the Texans making history with?
Well, they've
actually finding a franchise quarterback in the first round?
Well, no. According to Adam Rank, they're doing something that other teams should take note of. They're building a team around a rookie quarterback. NFL teams, Adam Rank tweeted, NFL teams are going to model their franchise after what the Texans have done for years to come.
I saw another tweet along those lines that was basically pretty. We're not too far off from having to need the whole expose and 30 for 30 on how the Texans built a dynasty. And somebody astutely pointed out, you mean by having a team in front of you in the draft the wrong quarterback? That's how they built their dynasty? Okay, got it. Because I don't know if they're where they're at. If the Panthers take C.J. Stroud last year and they take Bryce Young, we might be having a different conversation right now about the Houston Texans. And that's not even really a shot at Bryce Young, but he was terrible. I think he was graded as one of the worst rookie quarterbacks we've seen in the last 40 years in the NFL. So it's sometimes a tinge of luck. But yeah, you would love to build around your rookie quarterback. It's a lot easier said than done because most rookie quarterbacks on their rookie deals suck, and so it's not an easy thing to do.
Barnwell writes, it's remarkable when you look at the value scales of the NFL. He uses the Patriots. Patriots are number 3 right now. The Patriots have a lot of holes. That's a team that I don't think is going to be very good this year.
No.
And I don't think there's going to be an expectation of them being very good.
No, it's first-year head coach restart.
He says if the Patriots think Drake May or Jaden Daniels, if either one are available, even have a 20% chance of turning into an NFL caliber starting quarterback, they would be justified in taking him with their pick. They would need to have more than an 80% chance of feeling confident about a running back to justify the same selection. No position is in the same ballpark as quarterback. The needed confidence rate for Marvin Harrison Jr., largely regarded, by the way, as the number 1 wide receiver in this class, is twice as high than it would be for May or Daniels to be taken.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's a remarkable number. I mean, I get why teams are panicky. I get why teams want to try and figure out that question. It's the biggest question you have to answer as a team. I think back to an example of a team that we've talked about a lot with their quarterback decision-making, and that is San Francisco. When the Niners took Trey Lance with the 3rd overall pick in the 2021 draft, you had 2 other quarterbacks go ahead of him, Trevor Lawrence and then Zach Wilson, to the Jags and the Jets. After Trey Lance was taken at 3, remember, they still had Jimmy Garoppolo. They had just, I want to say, been to an NFC title game the year before, I think. The players taken after him in that draft, like if you're not panicky saying, hey, we got to go find this guy, maybe we'll take a sleeper in the 3rd or 4th round. They end up landing on Brock Purdy. Jamar Chase was 2 picks later.
Oh, can you imagine Jamar Chase and Deebo Samuel with Ayuk?
Jalen Waddle was the 6th pick. Penei Sewell was the 7th pick. J.C. Horn was the 8th pick. Patrick Surtain was the 9th pick. Devonta Smith was the 10th pick. Micah Parsons was the 11th or the 12th pick.
Bosa and Parsons.
Rashawn Slater was the 13th pick. Like,
right.
I can go on and on and on.
Yeah.
There was a lot of really talented players there that if they would have made that decision instead of this reaching for a kid who's not ready to play and overdrafting him when that value was not there at number 3, how different does the roster look? Maybe there's a Super Bowl in their mix if they get Jamar Chase, for example, and have another elite weapon for whoever their quarterback would have ended up being. I understand why teams get panicky. A lot of it is a new GM. A lot of it is a new coach. In the Washington case this year, it's a new owner. He wants to make a splash. He wants to sell tickets. But the history tells us that usually these things don't pan out, and getting more assets, trading back, building your roster. In the New England example, go get a couple of more firsts. It's way more prudent than taking a flyer on a guy who you're not sold on.
Well, but to Barnwell's point, the numbers and the math of this. So I see this both sides. I see it the obvious side of DC could have Daniels, and I don't know if Jaden Daniels is going to be amazing in the NFL. I think it's the dumbest thing we do is pretend that we know.
Nobody has any clue.
Because if you're wrong, you never bring it up, or you go, oh, I was a little wrong on that guy, when it's like the tape says you were really wrong on that guy. But I see the other side of this. Like, if you're a DC or New England fan, are you all in and like, I want my team taking a quarterback because of this value? The other side of this is kind of where I see it too. How often does the rookie quarterback contract win a Super Bowl? How often does that happen in this era?
Mahomes did it, obviously.
Thank you. Roethlisberger?
Yeah, but even, yeah, Roethlisberger.
So, like, we don't, in the salary cap era, I get the value part of this, and it's a huge, massive part. There's no doubt. Does it tend to work, though? Like, so the Stroud example is great. Everybody would take C.J. Stroud right now, right? Minus probably Kansas City and maybe Baltimore, Buffalo. And probably Cincinnati. But he's in that kind of conversation.
Yeah.
Are they going to win a Super Bowl in the next 4 years, 3 years?
You got to get through Kansas City to do it.
They're certainly going to have expectations this year to maybe be an AFC title contender.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I laid any money on them beating the experience of Mahomes and the Chiefs. And so it's like, at what point does that value go, well, there's no value now. Like, Buffalo's doing this. They get rid of Diggs, and it's debatable for some, but like, Diggs costs a lot of money. He's a headache in the locker room. Let's go get a bunch of young, cheap guys that maybe work better with Allen anyway. Mm-hmm. By the way, we did this in part because Josh Allen's contract is massive.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to win a Super Bowl out of it. So they've missed the window of the rookie scale contract. How many teams capitalize on the rookie scale contract? Everybody in the NFL that covers, the Barnwells, the Kimes, the PFF guys, all of them tell you, well, you want the rookie contract. It's the best way to build an NFL team. And I don't hate that opinion.
Of course it is.
But how many actually win it with that? Mahomes is the outlier to every quarterback conversation we have in any way.
He is. It is funny, too, because, like, let's use Bryce Young as the most recent example of this. The tough part when you're getting, like, even New England this year, if you reach and draft somebody that maybe isn't quite ready yet, because I don't know how, day one ready, all these guys, you're not getting Caleb Williams. So it's either Drake May or it's Jaden Daniels. Are they day one ready? Nobody knows. We didn't know if C.J. Stroud was. We didn't know if Justin Herbert was. Like, nobody has any clue. There's a chance that they're not, though. You're going to eventually, during their rookie year, whether it be right out of the gate or 3 weeks in, 5 weeks in, 7 weeks in, there's going to be a demand to play that kid. You're going to have to put him in. Like, he's a rookie. You just took him with a top 5 pick. To the contract capitalization example, you got to play him. You got to see what you got. So these guys are going to end up playing. We only give these guys a year and a half to 2 years.
Oh, 2 years
That's
at the most.
It. Like, we're already doing it with Bryce Young in Carolina. Like, hey, he doesn't have it. Like, dude, that guy he's been in the NFL for 1 year, and he played on the worst roster in the National Football League. And we're just throwing him out after one. Like, guy's a bum. Get him out of here. He can't do it. This is why New England, to me, is a prime example of it. If they were to trade the 3rd overall pick, I don't know what they exactly would get, but I imagine you're getting at least one more first. You're moving down a little bit in this year's draft, maybe to 10, 11, maybe it's Minnesota, whoever. You get a first for next year, maybe you get a 3rd for the year after that. It allows you to build things out to the point when you're ready to take that shot at grabbing a quarterback. Your roster isn't ass, and you have something around him that can help them win. And if you don't, New England sucks. That team is terrible. They don't have any good weapons. Their defense fell off a cliff last year. Their offense was non-existent. You go take a quarterback, have fun. That guy's going to fail, and in 2 years, you're going to be right back where you were this April drafting a quarterback.
Yeah, it's unfortunately this situation. It's just a turn and burn at the spot. And, I mean, most of us grew up in an era where, like, these guys were given almost 4 years because there's so much that goes into learning the position.
Well, I think that used to be because you had to pay him a ton of money before you saw, like when you drafted
him.
No, I know,
the Bradford contract.
You get those
right?
massive contracts.
Yes.
It's like, we got to figure that this guy has it for 4 years.
And the history of it, I mean, not that anybody doesn't know this, but it's just Barnwell goes through hey, last time like 4 or more quarterbacks were taken in the first round.
Yeah.
You've got like really 2 drafts that you point to in a handful of years. That's like, not bad. The others is like bust, gone, succeeding on different team.
Yeah.
Disappointment, whatever. And, right back in the same spot.